Welcome back, BG Nation. This is episode 18, and again, I'm here in the dungeon, getting bit up by spiders. It's alright. This episode, I tried to sneak in a little NFL. It's not even relevant right now, but I still sneak it in, because I love NFL. We talk about it, talk about NBA, a lot of good takes. You know, who's better all time? LeBron, Curry. I make a genuine argument for it, so please tune in. I'm proud of this argument. I also talk a lot about boxing. I'm finally free to talk about boxing. I'm alone, so I'm going to talk about it. You know, a lot of things going on in the boxing world. Ryan Garcia talk, Floyd Mayweather talk, Pacquiao possibly beating Mayweather. I think so. And on top of that, some WWE talk. It's been fresh on the mind. So tune in. Hope y'all enjoy. Leave a like. Please leave a like. It goes a long way. These take so long to do. I'm not going to say it makes me sad when I don't get any likes, but, you know, it takes a lot of time to do. It's not as easy as it looks. But, yeah, it's it. Episode 18 on the way. Thank y'all for joining. Let me know how y'all like it. And see y'all in the episode. Got him. FTP, welcome back, BG Nation. It is week 18, and obviously episode 18. We are back. We're hitting it hard. Here we are in the setup of doom and despair. It's been not great so far. If I get red halfway through, it's probably because it's like 80, 90 degrees in here, but I didn't want to turn on the AC. It's too loud for the video, so we keep on pushing. We keep on pushing on. But if I get red, that is the reason why. I'm also mad itchy. Apparently, there's just spiders everywhere. Little tiny spiders all over the place that are just lighting me up right now. But again, we do it for BG Nation. I do it for BG Nation. So here we are. Episode 18. So right away, just want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I did get a haircut. I know I said, and Roy said, that we were doing the infinite hair method. So this obviously goes against it, but come on. A little fade never hurt nobody. But yeah, I had graduation photos. Shout out, Hook'em. Had graduation photos, so had to clean it up just a little bit. But trust me, after this haircut, I'm gonna try to go like 6 months without touching it. It doesn't get long. We're not gonna cut it. I try to keep the length all over the place, even in the back. But yeah, had to clean it up a little bit. So had to address the elephant real quick before we even got started. Just kidding. I'm just joking. Obviously, the elephant is I'm alone again. Alone again. Roy is not here. This time it wasn't really his fault too much. You know, he's out of town. He had other priorities, had other things going on. We did have a little bit of time where we could have met to record, but just didn't really work out with both of us, you know, being away. So I'm going to have to do this alone again. I have no problem with that. Hope y'all don't. Hope y'all still enjoy the episode again. Probably going to be a little bit of a shorter one. And I'm getting choked out immediately to start the episode. But, you know, it's serious business. This podcast means serious business for me. So I had to come prepared, absolutely prepared, and looking good for the podcast. So, I mean, let's get into it. Whew. Gonna try to not get out of breath this time. Last time, that was a big issue. But this time, we're gonna try not to get out of breath. So, we carry on. Couple shout outs, as I mentioned. Just had my graduation photos here 2 days ago. So shout out producer Jay. He was also a producer for my photo shoot. So hopefully those should be out. I think y'all saw them in the fan section. Y'all follow the Instagram, you know, hit the Willem Dafoe. Classic, obviously a classic photo. Gonna be my profile picture here soon. But shout out producer Jay. But yeah, we did do that in Austin. We went out afterwards. So tragic event did happen this morning. We woke up and, you know, 3 people dead. I believe about 15 injured downtown Austin, 6th Street. So my prayers go out to the family. Anyone involved in that, you know, that really hits close to home. I mean, just down the road from us. Again, the night before we were literally out there doing the same exact thing. So it could happen to anyone. Very powerful things going on in the country right now. So at the end of the day, I wanted to provide, you know, a little entertainment. Obviously, I joked a little while back saying keep the politics out of sports, but truly that's how I feel about it. Whenever I listen to sports, watch sports, just hear anything about it, I just want to kind of take my mind off it. So hopefully some of you, this is, you know, a little escape from something like that. Hope I can provide a little bit of entertainment, a little sports talk. But yeah, here we go. I mean, we're going to get straight into it. So I have a lot to go. This is all off my dome. I had a lot of takes. I've been cooking them all week. So luckily, you know, you never want to go the episode without Roy. However, I actually had things cooked up. Last time, I didn't have much cooked up. Defaulted to what I knew, which was the Baltimore Ravens. No, this time, I don't think I talked about them one single time. Let's see if we can do a challenge of not talking about them like at all. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So the NFL Draft Combine just kind of wrapped up. If you know what the Combine is, college players, they get invitation. They run their 40-yard times. They test their vertical, do their measurements, do some skill challenges depending on what group they are, the bench press as well. So it's just pretty much a test to see how athletic you are, what skills you have. Executives, scouts from all around the league go out there and scout who they want to pick, who's looking good, try to get some sleepers. But Combine wrapped up, so I want to talk a little bit about these prospects coming into the league, at least a couple of them. The ones that are the most interesting most of the time are the quarterbacks, face of the franchise, future faces of the NFL. This year, I don't think there's actually too many great quarterbacks. I don't even think Mendoza going number 1 is that great of a prospect. But, I thought it was a little fun. So I just want to go over some pro player comparisons from the people who are in the Combine right now. These are not mine. These are not my personal ones. I think I might have to do my own little comparison, get closer to draft time. But shout out to Rookie Rager on Instagram. I took this graphic from him. I thought they were pretty good. Every year you always want to predict who's going to be the next great quarterback. So I have a list of 5 quarterbacks right in front of me who have some comparisons. So I'm going to talk about them, see if I agree with them. These are quite trash. I'm not going to lie. Not the take itself, but just the comparisons. So again, no shame, no diss to Rookie Rager, but, these quarterbacks aren't the greatest. So I think he did a pretty good job comparing them, but we'll go over it a bit. All right. So the first one, Fernando Mendoza, projected number 1 overall pick for the Raiders. His comparison, I've heard this one a lot. I have heard this one quite a lot. His comparison is Matt Ryan, an athletic Matt Ryan, in stars, athletic Matt Ryan. And you know what? Do I see it? Yeah, I do. I see it a little bit, just the way he's able to dissect the field, deliver that ball. I feel like Matt Ryan was never, anything crazy, skill-wise, but the way he was able to be a field general, really dissect the field. I mean, when I talk about Mendoza, I don't talk about him as a scrambler, a big arm type of guy. I really see a pure field general, and I think there's still value for that in the NFL. Obviously, if you have a Matt Ryan out there right now, I mean, we saw how he was last year. Probably some of the worst quarterback play I've seen in my life was Matt Ryan his last year. It was quite sad. No mobility. You have to be mobile. So Mendoza definitely has a bit more mobility than Matt Ryan did. It's a different league. As we saw with the draft combine results, they're getting faster every year. Every year, the defense is getting faster. So the quarterbacks have to adjust. They have to be faster. Long gone are the days of the pure pocket passer. And I don't think Mendoza's a pure pocket passer. I believe he has a little bit of creatability, if that's even a word. But I think he has, he can get creative with it. But that's not his main strong suit. But I don't think it's a bad one. Matt Ryan, if you end up being Matt Ryan, you're talking about a MVP of the league at one point in his career. You can joke about the 28-3 loss he had in the Super Bowl. But again, he took his team to the Super Bowl, had a phenomenal year. And, I mean, can you really put that comeback all on him? No, obviously you have the brilliance of Brady. And I saw a video, someone said if the Falcons literally need the ball after they went up 20-3 every single play on offense, they would have won the game. So big mistakes made, hugest meltdown in the Super Bowl history. That's besides the point. I think Mendoza's going to be a good player. I don't think he's going to be great. Matt Ryan, I believe, could be a ceiling, but it's a decent comparison. I just think comparing someone with such limited skill set to Matt Ryan, just because the field general isn't the greatest thing, but I see the comparison. I definitely see it. So next one on the list, I think he's getting a little bit more buzz right now. Dante Moore dropped out of the draft recently. So next guy up to be quarterback 2 is Ty Simpson. Do I see him getting drafted in the first round? I don't think so. Obviously, a lot of teams have a need for quarterback, but I mean, Ty Simpson in the first round I think would be a big reach. His comparison is Mac Jones. So Mac Jones is someone I had a lot of respect for. I really thought he was going to do great in the league. Mac Jones coming out of college from Alabama, I thought he would have been perfect, hindsight's 2020, but I really, really wanted him to go to the 49ers as being a pretty decent fan of the Niners, not my first team, but being a decent fan of the Niners, I thought Mac Jones would thrive in that system. You know what? We saw little spurts of it. He did do very well on the San Francisco 49ers whenever he got some playing time. So, Ty Simpson, if you can be a Mac Jones type of guy, it's really about the right fit. You get thrown into a bad situation, any quarterback's gonna fall under a bad situation. I think Ty Simpson, you put him in the right situation. I mean, who could those type of teams be? I mean, again, you can think of maybe if he gets put on the LA Rams, Matt Stafford, is coming back for another year. But I mean, you let Ty Simpson sit behind Matt Stafford, let him develop a little bit. I mean, when you're in a system such as a Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan type of system, you don't need a crazy guy back there. You just need the guy to make the right reads and deliver the ball properly. And, that's what Mac Jones is. When you have talent around him, he can deliver that ball. He can facilitate that ball like a point guard. You really just need to be a point guard type of quarterback whenever you're playing these systems. So, Ty Simpson, he has a skill set. I believe it is pretty similar to Matt Ryan. Man, my names are all over the place. Mac Jones, he's very similar to Mac Jones in that sense. Obviously, you get the comparison to Alabama quarterbacks. So, again, I can see him possibly. He can thrive in a system like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the second round and maybe even the Rams take a little pick on him. I think he's someone that can deliver the ball. I mean, this next one, writing's all over the wall. Taylor Green to AR-15. I mean, if you throw Taylor Green in that draft class, that was about 3 years ago at this point, instead of Anthony Richardson, he probably goes at number 4 as well. But I mean, NFL executives have probably, I hope, learned their lesson. Anthony Richardson, I never thought was a quarterback coming out of college that should have gone in the first round. I never saw enough out of him. I saw the spurts of athleticism, the talent there. That's undeniable. It is undeniable Anthony Richardson is a talented quarterback. However, I really never saw enough out of him coming out of college to think he can go top 4. I fell into the propaganda. I saw, that year, a lot of people were saying, guys, even towards the, couple days before the draft day, people were saying that a guy like Will Levis was going to go number 1. That was a big rumor at the time, if you forget. Will Levis was projected to go number 1. CJ Stroud was up there. Anthony Richardson. By the end of all the propaganda, I really started to believe Anthony Richardson could be. I wasn't mad at the pick at number 4. I really thought he should have been developed more. He should have sat a couple years. I mean, they didn't really have a quarterback for him to sit behind at the time. But throwing him into the fray like that was not a good idea. I mean, I see a similar fate for Taylor Green. I think teams are more wary of picking these guys based on pure talent and potential nowadays, so I don't think he'll go that high. But again, being a quarterback that can sit behind someone, learn a bit, maybe step up as a backup, can eventually find a role. I mean, he can fit into a role like a Malik Willis, maybe not earning that first contract extension, but eventually a team's going to value that. Again, a Tyler Huntley, someone who's earned some contracts over his career, still playing in the NFL, guys like that. So an AR-15 comparison, obviously, Taylor Green, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but he went nuclear at the combine. A talent like that, people are saying should be a tight end. Not every tall, fast, athletic guy should be a tight end. He can still play quarterback. But at the starter level right now, no, too raw. But I can see him developing. Hopefully, GMs have learned from the AR-15 experiment that you can't just throw these guys out there and expect them to be great right away. But maybe in the right situation. Again, all these are very situational. Quarterbacks got to go to the right situation. These are young guys at the end of the day, taking a lot of load on their back. Pause. But all right, we move on. This is a funny one. Carson Beck to Aiden O'Connell. I mean, Aiden O'Connell played some starting minutes for the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell been a backup, It's not a horrible comparison. I don't think Carson Beck's anything great. Obviously, like a 7th-year player coming out of college. He's gonna have experience. I think he's be composed, but I mean, he was never really a clutch guy. He was never really that guy in college football. I mean, he came in with high expectations. Same as Quinn Ewers. People forget, like a year ago, projected first round, but he played his way out of it. Played his way out of Georgia. And you know what? I rode the train of Carson Beck when he was in Miami. And, I was rooting for him to maybe get a win. He stepped up in some of those games. But at the end of the day, I mean, his college career couldn't have ended in a more Carson Beck way, throwing the game-losing interception. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just not really a winning quarterback. Been put on some great teams with great defenses, but just couldn't really seal the deal for any of those teams. So AOC is not too bad. I mean, am I comparing their playing styles too much? Not really. I couldn't really name you what AOC's play style really is off the top of my head. Bugs flying everywhere in here. I'm getting lit up by these bugs. But I really could not name what Aiden O'Connell's playing style is. Neither could I on Carson Beck. I couldn't really pin it down. So I don't hate that one just because I don't know too well. The last one I have up here is Drew Aller to Daniel Jones. And look, it is mad disrespectful to Daniel Jones. Mad disrespectful to Daniel Jones. Look, people are comparing Drew Aller to like a Josh Allen type of guy. A big white guy, run the football with cannon for an arm. Again, you have undeniable talent, but talent can only get you so far. Drew Aller just simply cannot read the defense. I don't see him becoming anything in the NFL. Obviously, he has a rocket arm, athleticism, but at the end of the day, that can only get you so far. Again, Daniel Jones is a guy who took the Colts. I mean, he almost took him to the playoffs. So he should have been a playoff team if he didn't get injured. He's a guy who earned a second contract in New York off his rookie contract. That's not easy to do. I mean, that's not easy to do. Earning yourself a second contract is a lot easier said than done. Do I see Drew Aller being a guy that can earn a second contract, that can take a team to the playoffs? Not really. I mean, I guess play style. He's a poor man's Daniel Jones. He's the Daniel Jones of, I don't know, Tyler Baggett's. That's all I could say about that. I mean, I see the skill. I see the similarity. Fast, white guy, big. You're not going to make him Josh Allen because he's not good. So next best thing, I guess, is Daniel Jones. Not a horrible comparison at the end of the day. I don't think any of these are too bad. But again, give some respect to Daniel Jones. I think his ceiling is a Daniel Jones, maybe. I guess, but whatever. I mean, I don't care too much about Drew Aller. But, I mean, I mentioned him a little earlier. We're going to move on from this draft combine talk, this draft, these quarterbacks. But we're going to move on to a different quarterback. Again, NFL is more in my suit. Not much going on in the NFL, but I'm going to take whatever I can get. So right now, before that, I'm going to loosen this up. I cannot. I really wanted to wear this all episode, but I'm going to have to loosen up this top one. Whew, good Lord. That was choking me out. All right. Sorry. All right. Moving on to another quarterback. He's hot in the NFL right now. We spoke about him a little while ago, me and Roy. Had some predictions on where he might go. Malik Willis. Malik Willis is some big talk right now. Apparently, there's no way he does not get a $30 million contract this offseason. I have seen him linked to the Browns. I've seen him linked most recently to the Cardinals. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. I like Malik Willis. Malik Willis has talent, obviously. He showed out. He's played great games for Green Bay. Reason he's being talked about in this way. However, I really just don't see it. There's not really a market, in my opinion, for him. Why would you spend $30 million on an unproven guy, a guy who played for Tennessee and proved he wasn't the starter? Obviously, he developed a bit more. $30 million is not what you pay for a backup. He's a valuable backup, in my opinion. Like a Tyler Huntley. But a $30 million quarterback? I don't think so. Again, with the Cardinals, is he really that much better than Kyler Murray? Do you think the Cardinals are better off spending $30 million on a guy who might not be better than the guy they have right now? Or should they just wait a year or two and wait till a better quarterback falls to them in the draft and try that way? I mean, you're putting yourself in the hole. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. This is a type of signing that can get a GM fired. If he goes to the Browns, all for it. I mean, that's really on brand for them, for the Browns to spend that much money. I mean, i.e. Deshaun Watson, they ate Brock Osweiler's contract from the Texans. I mean, that's really on brand for the Browns, but if you're any other team, do you really put all your eggs into the Malik Willis basket when we haven't seen him be a proven starting quarterback ever in his career? Obviously, again, you're basing it off the potential, what you get out of it, but $30 million, that's not a small amount of money. That is a lot of money. $30 million, you can sign a better quarterback for that, and you can use that money in the future for a guy that can be an actual franchise quarterback. I just don't think Malik Willis is someone that warrants a price tag like that. It's too much. It's too much money. Would I do it for 10 mil, 15 mil? Maybe, but not $30 million. That's potential franchise quarterback level money where I just don't see it. Not for Malik Willis. So I'm off that train. I had some hype on him, but after seeing that price tag, that's too much. I It's getting ridiculous in NFL. I mean, you have a better chance at taking a flyer, an underrated guy like a Mac Jones type of signing. I mean, Baker Mayfield went to the Bucks. Someone like that. Someone who, I don't know, I just don't see it with Malik Willis. I just do not see it. I see the talent. I see him being more like a Tyler Huntley, a really good backup. Someone who has a dual threat quarterback like the Ravens needs a guy like that to be their backup quarterback. That way, if their starter gets hurt, they have someone that can fit seamlessly into the system. You don't have to change his play calling too much. But that's about it. Cardinals, same thing. It could be a backup quarterback for Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray gets hurt, who has injury history, if he gets hurt, having a guy who can just fit into that role seamlessly and be a good backup. But $30 million, that price is a little too steep for me. Let me know what you think. That's pretty much it. That's it. Not for the podcast. Obviously not for the podcast, but for the NFL. Again, I'm an NFL guy, so that's what I like to talk about. But we got some NBA talk alongside with some boxing talk and a little WWE recap, just because I did watch it last night. NBA, Roy's our NBA guy. Bless his heart. Wish he was here. Pink Floyd song. Pink Floyd album. Wish you were here, Roy. But he's not. I'm here. You have to settle for me. So, a couple takes I had for the NBA. Some things that have been on my mind. Question I had, really for myself, just to give some context. Past couple years, talking about the Lakers and LeBron. Again, I'm talking about LeBron. But, over the past couple years, going into the season, I've never really had too much optimism for the Lakers and LeBron. Nothing's different this year. Going into the year, I did not have too much optimism for the Lakers and LeBron. I just a feeling about it. I was rooting for LeBron. I'm a big LeBron fan. I really am. I can't hide that. I'm a Spurs fan, diehard. So not they have a good team. Obviously, I'm cheering for the Spurs. But when the Spurs weren't making playoffs, I was cheering for the Lakers and LeBron to win a championship, just for him to get another one. However, deep down in my heart, my conscience, I knew that LeBron just wasn't on a contending team. These Lakers teams of the past haven't been contending rosters. And it just brought to question, when was the last time LeBron really had a contending roster? I mean, throughout his career, you could say his rosters haven't been contenders. Obviously, early Cleveland days, no. Every year on Miami, obviously, yes. When he was on the Cavaliers, I mean, when we had Kyrie, yeah, obviously. But post-Kyrie, were those really contending rosters? No, LeBron had to become, Superman to carry those sorry teams to the finals. So, when was the last time he had a contender? Obviously, I'm going to say the year they won the championship. 2020, the bubble year. That year, I had no doubt in my mind that season would finish with LeBron and the Lakers hoisting the trophy, Larry O'Brien over their head. Had no doubt in my mind. But again, the years after that, I just couldn't even envision them hoisting a championship. I thought there was no chance. Same thing goes for this season again. There's just no chance they win a championship. They don't have a contending roster. This is me crying for LeBron a little bit. Not really. Not really, but just when has he really had another contending roster? I'm going to take a take by Roy. Obviously, I talked about this a bit with Roy. We discussed them a little bit earlier this week. He had a take, so I'm going to go ahead and play devil's advocate on Roy's behalf on this take. He said he thought the Lakers last year, before they traded for Luka, truly had a contending roster. He thought with AD, the way he was playing, and LeBron James, and the way the Lakers were playing last year before the Luka trade, that they had a contending roster. Again, I just don't buy it. I mean, they haven't had a big man. They haven't had defense. The few Lakers games I've caught this year have been just sad. I mean, they don't have defense. Again, Ayton has been big in the media right now. If you don't know, DeAndre Ayton's the center for the Lakers, picked number 1 overall by the Suns a couple years ago. Been a bust. Just plays softly. Plays with no effort. Fun fact, there is a water bottle. They give him a Gatorade bottle before his games labeled DA's Crunk Juice. Drink this to unleash the beast. Cinema. Absolute cinema. I mean, if that doesn't describe DeAndre Ayton, I don't know what does. That as a fully grown 7-foot strong center in the NBA, you have to get motivated by your trainers labeling your water bottle with DA's Crunk Juice to unleash the beast. After that came out, the game after, he dropped 2 points and was negative 25 plus minus. If that just doesn't go to show how sorry some of these LeBron rosters have been, I don't know what does. I don't know why they got rid of that roster they had. They had a good roster with a mix of veteran presence. You know, they had Rajon. They had Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard played great. I don't know why they didn't bring him back right after. But they had good players on that roster they won the 2020 championship with. Since then, they just haven't built anything around. They've tried with different centers. They really have. But they haven't gotten one dominant center. Obviously, AD is a big man, a good big man, great big man that played with LeBron. In my opinion, is the best teammate. But he didn't want to play center. He's not a center. He's better at power forward. So why haven't they gone out there and really built a true contender for LeBron? Right now, it's too late. I think this is LeBron's last year with the Lakers. It's not going to go down well. After this, he will leave. And I'm thinking they're just starting to think about the post-LeBron years already. Obviously, getting Luka Doncic, not a good matchup to really complement LeBron. Not really. I'm pretty sure they're just thinking about what they're going to do afterwards, after LeBron's gone, with Luka building around him. So at this point, I don't think there's any chance LeBron wins another chip with the Lakers. I don't know. It just really, it's disappointing, in my opinion. Very disappointing. LeBron's Laker tenure can be seen as disappointing. Obviously, he won them a championship, but he's been there for, 7, 8 years now, and most of it has been disappointing. Obviously, the first roster he inherited there with Lonzo Ball, not going to be a contender. Had a good little run, obviously, but in the Western Conference, to get past a Jokic, you're going to have a good center. Jokic put them outside, I believe, 2 years in a row. So, I don't know. That's just a failure, in my opinion, by the Lakers for LeBron. Very bad organization over the past couple years. You know, got Luka, but I mean, at the end of the day, another thing just been on my mind. Did both teams really lose the AD-Luka trade? Obviously, AD was a good piece. Roy would argue that year they could have won the championship with them. And then in return, you get a generational talent like Luka. But at the end of the day, you have someone else who doesn't play defense, doesn't put up effort, complains to the ref. He's really fallen out of grace in the eyes of the NBA fans, Luka Doncic has, because his lack of defense and just the way he complains. Instead of getting back on defense, he just complains to the refs over and over again, gets teched. It's just not a good look. So would I say the Lakers lost that? Not really, but it's not looking great so far. Obviously, the Mavs lost that trade because you lose a player like Luka, someone who all the fans loved before he went to LA, was loved by everybody. But I mean, the Lakers haven't really gotten anything out of him, haven't been able to build a roster around him. It's too early to tell currently, but right now it's looking to me like the Luka AD trade was a lose-lose for both sides. Just not a good fit on either side. You can get a good player on your team, doesn't mean you won the trade, doesn't mean your team's good. So in my opinion, both teams, AD, Luka, Mavericks, Lakers, just lost. Lose everywhere. Lose all across the board. That's whatever. Speaking of bad organizations, though, another thing that's been on my mind, I believe the Warriors have been a very bad organization over the past couple years. Is that crazy to say? No, you could be a winning organization and still be a bad one, in my opinion. Look, I said I wouldn't talk about my team, but I'm going to slander Roy's team while he's not here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-time Super Bowl champions, obviously always contending. But they got rated Fs across the board in the NFLPA survey, rated like the worst organization. I don't think that's crazy to say at all. Are the Lakers to that level? Or the Warriors are the Warriors to that level? I don't think so. However, just their inability, for me, it's been the inability to build for the future. Again, build a good contending team around Curry. They won another championship post KD years, but really being able to build around Curry post KD has been difficult for them. Again, drafting players. I mean, you can chalk it up to them not having the highest draft picks, but they've had a couple lottery picks these years, and they just have whiffed on a lot of them. You could have drafted LaMelo Ball instead of James Wiseman. That's one that just pops up into my head right away. Is he the best fit? I mean, were you needing a point guard at the time? No, but that's just a better talent James Wiseman was a complete waste of a pick. But yeah, I'm going to go over a couple takes. But yeah, they're obviously one of the greatest dynasties NBA history. Curry, top 10 player NBA history. They have two of the best shooters of all time in Clay and Curry. What they were able to do by getting KD, extending their dynasty, really making it a dynasty with KD, again, amazing. But they just haven't been able to draft very well. Again, they drafted Curry. I don't think they were expecting him to be the franchise player. I don't think anyone was expecting Curry to be the level he is today or what he ended up becoming. But drafted Curry, Clay, Draymond, these are lower draft picks. You hit on them. Were they fluky? Kind of, in my opinion. They're kind of fluky. No one expected them to be the level of what they are. They kind of just landed that. So besides that, I just have a list of names down the list that they've picked that I believe have been horrible draft picks. Not even that I believe have been horrible draft picks, just have been horrible draft picks. Talk about Quentin Post. Shout out, was it Joris, BG fan. Quentin Post, I think pretty horrible. I don't know enough about Quentin Post. A lot of these guys I actually don't know a lot about, which I think speaks to how bad they are. Pods is getting enormous amount of hate. I did not think he was that bad. I actually thought people were kind of a fan of Podziemski, but it seems like Warriors fans hate Podziemski. Seems like a young player, kind of early to really be putting that on him, but people hate Pods. You know what? I saw a stat line yesterday. I believe he went like 0 for 6 from 3 or something like that. So I kind of see the hate. Again, not a hit on that pick. Patrick Baldwin. Who? Again, I don't know him too well. Don't know the guy. Kuminga, another failure. Someone that had potential, played well in spurts, but just an ugly ending. Moses Moody, again, just another miss. James Wiseman, maybe the worst of them all. People could say they didn't have many high draft picks, but James Wiseman was a number 2 overall pick, and you picked wrong that draft when having the number 2 pick. As a pretty contending team, usually a playoff team, year after year, you're not going to have many picks that high, and they missed the one time they had a pick that high. Jordan Poole, again, another one who had a lot of potential, played well, was named the 3rd Splash Brother at some point. Just didn't end well with the Warriors. And then Jacob Evans, who, again, just a list of names of either people you don't know or who have shown to have some talent but just weren't developed. So that's another one that I just can't wrap my head around. And Kerr, obviously, one of the greatest coaches of all time. KD might say he hasn't called a play in years. I find that funny. But, he hasn't been able to... They have had talent. Again, some that come off the top of my head. Kuminga and Poole, I think were talented players. And he just wasn't able to find space for them. Obviously, you're going to... debatable. You're going to put a guy like Draymond over a guy like Poole just because of what Draymond has done. But shipping out Poole because of what happened with Draymond... Not a great move, in my opinion. Not a great move. You're not building for the future. You're not setting yourself up to be better. And it's just, take Curry off that team. They're probably the worst team in the NBA. Mr. Hypothetical over here, but take off Curry from the Warriors. They're probably the worst team in the NBA. What happens if Curry just decides, I'm going to retire after this year? There's nothing for me here anymore in Golden State. Or ship me out. I don't want to play here anymore. I think Curry leaves right away. He has not built anything sustainable for the long term there in Golden State. So, you saw the Bulls pre and post Michael Jordan, no championships. I see a similar fate to the Warriors. Pre-Curry, nothing. I think post-Curry, they'll be stuck being probably one of the worst teams in the NBA for a good while and then maybe middling out over time. Unless you draft another top 10 guy, which, easier said than done. But, teams like the Lakers, Celtics, over decades have built great organizations. I'm going to throw my own San Antonio Spurs in there. Been decades now that they've been great, winning championships over many decades, primed up to win another one here, hopefully pretty soon. Warriors just don't fall into that category. Besides this 15-year run with Curry carries the organization the same way Michael Jordan carries the Bulls. So, post-Curry, I don't see the Warriors doing anything. Not a crazy take. But, insane journalism. I'm going to match them up now. I talked about the Lakers are failures with LeBron. The Warriors are failures with Curry these last couple years. just a little debate that came off my mind from something I said last episode. In 20 years, who is going to be remembered in better light, LeBron or Curry? Whenever we have our kids, maybe at this point some grandkids, and they start watching the NBA, they haven't watched LeBron, they haven't watched Curry, all they have is highlights, all they have is statistics in front of them. Who's going to be remembered better? I mean, they both have the same amount of rings. They played each other in the finals, and Curry got the better of LeBron most of the time. You know, Curry did it in a shorter amount of time. I think his impact on the game has been felt at a greater level, long-term at least. Who's going to be remembered in the better light? I have arguments for both sides, and I guess I'll let y'all know my side of it. But obviously, look, LeBron, arguably, GOAT. At lowest, in my opinion, number 2 of all time. I think if you have him lower than number 2, you're absolutely insane. But LeBron is the all-time points leader. He has longevity to his career. One of the healthiest players of all time. How much do you value health? I don't know. Especially in the long term, how much do you really put a value on being able to stay healthy? I say almost every episode, the best ability is availability, and LeBron has been available throughout his entire career. Another accolade I think can't be topped is a 3-1 comeback. Coming back against Curry himself, one of the greatest teams of all time, the greatest team record-wise in the finals, is an insane achievement. Leading sorry roster to the finals again, early in his Cavaliers days, taking his team to a championship, losing to the Spurs. Post Kyrie years, taking his team to the championship, getting absolutely manhandled by the Warriors, but being able to take those rosters. But again, can you really use that to solidify his greatness? Someone I've talked to quite a bit, mentioned him on the podcast as well, isn't impressed by LeBron taking his team to the championship 8 straight years. He was in the East. Obviously, the East is a weaker conference than the West, historically, all time. To this day, probably, yeah. West has always been dominant. Would LeBron have taken his team to the championship all his years if he's in the West? Probably not. Probably not. He was able to get past the weak East, would be the argument against him making all his finals appearances. In Jordan's day, the East was more dominant. I mean, you had the Larry Birds of the world. You had the Bad Boy Pistons on that side. You had some good teams in the East you had to get past. I mean, when you think about LeBron's competition, who was it really? I mean, he had to get past a washed, KG toward the end of his career. Throughout the playoffs, it was the Pacers, Toronto Raptors are probably his biggest enemy. Some Celtics teams before Jason Tatum truly came into form. So, I mean, his strength of being able to make it to so many finals could also be seen as a weakness, just because the East was not that strong. Did he did he do anything to change the game, really? I mean, when you look at LeBron, he's very athletic, very healthy. But did he change the game like someone like a Curry did? Did he really have an impact like a Michael Jordan did in the 90s on the culture of basketball? What has LeBron done to really cement his legacy outside of basketball or for basketball? I mean, for basketball in general, I guess. Not much. I don't think he's done much different from anyone else. His play style isn't too flashy. He's obviously not a score first type of guy, even though he has the most points of all time. He's more of a run the floor facilitator. His IQ, probably second to none all time. His IQ is very great, but I mean, his dunks are good. His athleticism off the roof, one of the most athletic, if not the best athlete of all time in NBA history. But again, compared to Curry, I don't know if his presence will be felt many years after. Now on the side of Curry, again, he owned LeBron in the finals. 3-1 comeback by LeBron. 3-1, it's a record of Curry on LeBron in the finals. So, again, I mean, a lot of context goes behind that. LeBron's rosters, Curry's rosters, KD going to the Warriors. But at the end of the day, kids in 20 years, are they really going to be thinking about that? Or are they just going to see, hey, Curry beat LeBron 3 times in the finals, only lost once when they went back-to-back 4 years in a row. That's just an argument for Curry. Again, matched his rings. Curry had the 3 wins against LeBron, and then he came back and he matched them, winning it not by himself. The Warriors team was not bad, but without KD, he was able to put the team on his back, win another championship. So he matched them in rings. It's clutch as well. I mean, one of the defining moments of this generation, this era, is going to be the Olympics game whenever Curry hit the dagger, the three. As a fan, I watched that live. I'm going to remember that forever. Almost being in tears, seeing LeBron, Curry, KD kind of on their last legs, almost losing, taking a miracle by Curry. Curry turning up, being that clutch player, hitting the clutch shots. Curry has that. Curry has those moments, whereas LeBron, I don't think, has moments quite as big, as impactful as Curry has had. Again, I spoke on it in a post LeBron. Curry's changed the game. The game was completely different before Curry got to the league. Mid-range shots, post moves. That was a meta. It's 3-pointers nowadays. If you don't have a 3-pointer, you really can't make in the league. You have a 3-and-D type archetype that is so valuable nowadays. Half of that is based off what Curry's changed the game into when it comes to the 3-point shot. So if you don't have a 3-point shot in today's age, I think it's only going to become more prevalent. It's just become part of the game. I don't think that can really be fathomed how impactful that was. When we talk about NBA history, turning point in history, Curry will be in the center of it for what he did on the game and his impact with the 3-pointer. But yeah, and then again, another one, LeBron was just naturally gifted as an athlete with his size, his speed, his athleticism, his jump. Curry was undervalued coming to the draft. He was undersized. People didn't know if, he could make it in the league. He wasn't supposed to be what he is today. And throughout all those odds, his dad was an NBA player, but throughout all those odds, he finished as maybe the best point guard of all time, if not second best behind Magic. That's just a good story. That's just a good story. I heard someone say that some of the best all-time athletes aren't even all that athletic, but they had to, find ways around it. They just had a tenacity to be great. Say, a Messi, undersized, but he had to use his skill, his speed, his moves to really become the GOAT of soccer. Same thing can be said about Curry, to be the GOAT of his position. Undersized, maybe not the most athletic guy, but he had to do something differently, and he did, to become the best point guard of all time, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, some arguments against Curry obviously can be his teams were great. He won one chip against LeBron to start off his career. Then he gave up the 3-1 lead. He did. Warriors did. Then after that, you can argue that LeBron's Cavaliers could have maybe made a push against him. The Warriors dynasty would have never been a thing if KD didn't come to the Warriors. KD coming to the 73-9 Warriors, that impacted the legacy of the Warriors, Curry, KD, in an immaculate way. Again, I don't know if the Warriors dynasty is a dynasty if KD doesn't go there. So that can be put as a little asterisk. 2 of those championships, we're going to put that little asterisk next to KD in 20 years saying, hey, he never won it on his own. He had to go to a stacked team. You could say the same thing about Curry. Would he really have won those championships? He's on the same exact team. He had a lot of help. My 3 top players of this generation are KD, Curry, and LeBron. And 2 of those players were on a team together for a good amount of years and won championships together. So that's a little asterisk. But to combat that, post KD again against the Celtics, he was able to win a chip on his own. Besides that, I don't know if you can really blemish Curry's career that much. I think it's been amazing. Again, I grew up a LeBron fan, been a LeBron fan for a long time. I'll still defend him to this day. But putting all those things together, again, just his story of being an undersized guy, developing the shot, changing the game, winning 4 championships. That championship that he won against the Celtics really, really cemented his legacy, in my opinion. And I think that's what makes Curry's going to be remembered as a better player than LeBron in 20 years when kids talk about this generation. I think LeBron has done great things, but I don't want to say underachieved, but for what he's striving for, to be the GOAT, for be to remember the way he is, I think Curry just surpasses him. Right now, maybe we don't think about it this way, but again, we're talking about in 20 years from now. I think Curry is going to be remembered in a better light than LeBron. That's just what I think. But what do I know? I'm not the NBA guy. I'm just the NFL guy. So those are just my takes on the NBA. Again, very Curry heavy, very LeBron heavy. But That's just what I know. That's what I know. One may call me a casual, but that's just what I think. But we move on to some things I know a little bit more of that I'm excited to talk about. We're talking about boxing. Boxing. I asked Roy, I'm like, don't you think boxing has gotten a little bit of a boost as of recently? About the past year, people haven't been talking about boxing at all. Even myself as a big boxing fan hasn't been able to defend it too well. But I feel like as of recently, boxing has started circulating in the mainstream again. A big props to Ryan Garcia for that. Ryan Garcia is one of the biggest faces in boxing. I think if he wasn't so popular outside of boxing, he could have been a lot better than he is right now. But that being said, congratulations to Ryan Garcia. I watched that live at Pluckers. Shout out Pluckers. But I watched that live, and Ryan Garcia put on an absolute clinic, sweeping all 12 rounds, getting a knockdown in the first 25 seconds against Barrios. And some might say Barrios is a bum, but Barrios is I believe, two-time champ. I know he's for sure a world champ. I think he's a two-time world champ. So, that's not easy to do. To complete clean sweep clean sweep a guy like that. It's not easy to do. Ryan showed up looking great. Inconsistent is a word I could probably use for his career. But if he can look the way he did against Barrios, the way he did against Devin Haney about 2 years back, the sky's the limit for the guy. He's obviously very talented, very fast. He was on point. He finally developed the jab, which I've been clamoring for years now, and I think everyone has. But he really showed out and looked great. And I think what he does for boxing is he really elevates it and puts it in the mainstream. He's one of the biggest draws for a reason. He's entertaining. People like him. People hate him. But, that's what's going to come with the job. He has the potential to be one of the faces of boxing if he really wants to lock in. But my argument is he's really surpassed boxing at this point. He's a social media type of guy. He's very popular. He's a character. So, but what he does in the ring is undeniable. What he did against Mario Barrios was great. And I think if you're a boxing fan, we can thank Ryan Garcia for really helping boxing when it was kind of starting to run out of gas here. But yeah, I want to talk about Ryan Garcia a little bit. I'm a big Ryan Garcia fan. I am. I like him a lot. He's fun to watch. He's one of the boxers where I know when I'm watching him, I guess you can say the Rolly Romero fight wasn't too great, but when I know I'm going to watch him for the most part, I know I'm going to have a good time seeing what's going to happen. I really have a big respect for boxers who are not afraid to lose, not afraid to fight anyone. He's put on these fights against Rolly, against Gervonta Davis, against Devin Haney, Barrios. These aren't easy bouts. He's someone like an Oscar De La Hoya, who I believe in the future will be respected for facing talent like this. He's not scared to fight any of these guys. At the end of the day, any of these guys will be lucky to fight Ryan Garcia because it's just going to be a money match. You're going to make money if you fight Ryan Garcia. So, what's next for the guy? What's next for him? He fought at 147. He looked great at 147. I did not expect him to look so great at 147, but he did. So, what's next for him? I have a list of a couple guys. So, you could fight Tank again. I don't think that's in the best interest of Ryan Garcia. I believe Tank, out of all these guys on my name, is probably the best boxer. I think Tank's great. Plus, Tank, again, we mentioned it very early on in this series, in this podcast history. Tank's fighting the law right now. So I don't think that's what's next. But you know what? I would pay to see it. I'd be rooting for Ryan. But that's a possibility, maybe in the future. I don't think he fights Tank Davis. Again, I think Tank beats him, again, if they were to fight. Another one could be Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson fights someone who is undefeated. I think close thing to Mayweather. I really don't have a lot of respect for Shakur Stevenson, though. Before Pretty Boy Floyd was Pretty Boy, he was a killer. He would hit hard. He would fight. He had to earn that respect to be the villain. Whereas I feel like Shakur has just come out and just had that style where he wants to be a villain, where he doesn't care if people don't want to watch him or people don't want to watch him fight. They want to pay to see him lose. I think, that's just not great for boxing to not get hit. He's undeniably maybe the most, if not one of the most talented boxers in the world. It's just not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch. The only reason I watched the last Shakur fight was because he fought T.O., and T.O. is one of my favorite guys to watch. But I wasn't watching it for Shakur. I was left disappointed again. So, if he's not fighting someone like a T.O., like a Ryan, I'm probably not going to watch. Even if he fought a Devin Haney, I might not watch. So, do I want to see him fight Shakur? No, I don't think you should even give him the payday. For fans, it's not going to be a fun watch. I think Shakur also beats Ryan. Who knows what Ryan could do? Ryan sets his own limits, but Shakur is pretty much untouchable at this point in his career. I wouldn't want to watch that fight. It wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't be too hyped for it. Probably one of my least hyped up fights out of any of these boxers I'm about to name. Boots is another one. Boots Ennis, if you know Jaron Ennis, at 147, that'd be a great fight. I would love to watch that fight. Boots is someone who definitely has some popularity, but has he hit the mainstream yet? No, outside of the boxing hemisphere, I don't think so. But I think he has a talent to do so. He's a very good fighter. I always wanted to see him fight Terrence Crawford, but at this point, it's not going to be a possibility. But I think it'd be a perfect fight for Ryan Garcia. It'd be a great fight. I don't think it'd go to 12 rounds. Someone's getting knocked out. It'd be an amazing fight. Who wins that fight? I don't know. I think it's shaping out to be a good matchup for Boots. I think Boots at 147 is a problem, so I don't know if Ryan can truly win that fight. But I would love to watch it. What else? Look, I have my biases, obviously. I'm a big Tio fan. I'm a big Teofimo Lopez fan. I love watching him fight. What he did, not Catterall, Josh Taylor. What he did to Josh Taylor, he looked magnificent. I really thought he was one of the best boxers in the world when he did that. I think he needs a better corner. It's his dad, currently. His dad doesn't know. Obviously his dad knows more than me, but his dad doesn't ever give him anything instructional in the corner, especially when he goes down. He just says, hit him. Hit him. Hit him. What are you doing? Hit him. Like, come on, man. When a guy like Shakur, you're not just going to hit him. You got to actually set it up. What are you seeing that he can break down? But it's a little rant right there. I think Tio and Ryan, that has been a dream fight for me for a little while. I just think these are two guys, again, who are not scared to fight anybody, who will fight anybody, and will go out there and give it all they got every time. But as of right now, Tio needs to build himself up a little bit more. He just got absolutely spanked by Shakur. So I don't know if it's too much anticipation for a Tio-Ryan Garcia matchup. I'd be hyped. I'd really be hyped about it, but I just don't see that happening. But it's one of my dream fights. So if it ever does happen, just know I will be very hyped to watch that. And then the one I do think is going to happen, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. I think in the current state of boxing, this is one of the greatest rivalries we have. This is a great boxing rivalry. They have fought once before. Ryan, a lot of controversy. Ryan coming in, looking like a crazy man. He really did. I thought he lost it. Coming down, knocking down Devin Haney twice. I think it should have been 4 times. It really looked like the fight, again, conspiracy theorists out here. It looked like the fight was rigged for Devin Haney to win. It looked like it favored him quite a lot. But Ryan Garcia made it undeniable that he won. He came in the fight overweight, so it wasn't for the belt. Didn't beat him for the belt, but he gave Devin Haney his first loss. Until he didn't. Devin Haney disputed that Ryan would not pass the drug test. And you know what? He didn't. He did not pass the drug test. He was found to have PEDs. Is it true? Again, conspiracy theorist, I'm not so, convinced that it was quite true. But Ryan failed the test. It was ruled a no contest, and Devin Haney to this day is still undefeated technically. But like someone said, you can erase the loss off your record, but you can't erase what we saw in the ring. We saw Ryan Garcia absolutely dominate Devin Haney. Devin Haney's never beaten him, not even in the amateurs. And Ryan continues to have his numbers. So that is a fight. That is the number one fight I have on here. I would love to watch Ryan Garcia fight Devin Haney again. Hopefully making weight. Hopefully no conspiracy theory, PED test, failed PED test, this, that. I like just watch him fight again. And I think Ryan comes out with the win on here again. I don't think Haney's figured him out. When Haney feels that right hand power, he's not going to know what hit him. I think Ryan Garcia owns Devin Haney, and I would love to watch him fight again. I would pay whatever they charge me to watch that fight. And I think that's a fight that's going to happen. They've both been teasing it. Devin Haney said he's not going to come back to that, but come on. Money talks. Ryan Garcia is money in the boxing world. I believe it's what's going to happen. But yeah, I want to speak a little about boxing. A couple other things I have on here about boxing. Again, another thing I love to talk about. I'm happy that boxing is kind of coming back into the light. Floyd Money Mayweather. Obviously, he's going to fight an exhibition with Mike Tyson. It's not really what I want to talk about. Will I watch it? Probably. I'm going to watch Mike Tyson in the ring again. It's going to be a weird one. I don't think anyone's going to get knocked out or whatever. It's going to be an old man fight. Again, Mike Tyson, in no shape to be boxing right now. But the bigger news, I think, in terms of this, is that Floyd officially comes out of retirement for boxing to set up a rematch with Manny Pacquiao later on this year. Again, whenever I first saw that he was coming out of retirement, we were about to shoot a pod, I wish I predicted it because I did think that he was going to fight Pacquiao just because I know Pacquiao still fights. Am I excited for it? Yeah. You know what? I'm a sucker for it. Mayweather Pacquiao Part 2. I don't care how old they are. I'm excited to see it. Is it a big event for money? Yeah, probably. Is it going to be a great fight? Probably not. But look, the thing is, Mayweather Pacquiao 2, I think Pacquiao is going to beat Mayweather in the rematch. Reason being, if you don't keep up boxing, Pacquiao has stayed relatively active in the pro scene. Obviously, it's been about 5 years now, maybe, that he won the championship. 5-6 years, maybe. It's still a long time. But he most recently, in the past year, fought Mario Barrios, again, the guy lost to Ryan Garcia, and took him to a draw. I thought he won that fight. And you know what? He looked great against Mario Barrios. Whereas, Mayweather's fought exhibitions here and there, been racking up some extra money, but has not really been doing any competitive boxing. So I believe in the rematch between Pacquiao and Mayweather, Pacquiao's going to win this fight. As the fight comes along, you're going to start hearing this a bit more. People are going to start bringing to the light of this. But if you're watching Baker's Gold right now, put your money on Pacquiao. People are going to start saying this, and the odds are going to shift towards his way because it really just makes sense. Pacquiao has stayed more active as of recently, fought real fights against real competitors, against world championship, caliber pro boxers, and held his own relatively well. He has stayed in shape. So I don't think this spells well for Mayweather, and I think Pacquiao is going to beat the brakes off Mayweather. Delusion? Maybe. This is what Mayweather's made his career off of. People like me paying to see him lose, thinking he's going to lose, and not losing. So at the end of the day, Mayweather's 50-0 for a reason. He might still win this fight, but I think Pacquiao's going to win it. I'm putting my money on Pacquiao. I think you should too. And you heard it here first. Before you hear it anywhere else, people are going to start riding that Pacquiao bandwagon, and it's going to come to light that he's been very active. If you don't know, if you're not keeping up with boxing, Pacquiao has stayed active, and he's going to win this fight. But I just want to give a little shout there. Again, fight's still a little whiles away, but I just wanted to put it out there in the universe before you hear it on ESPN. Because if you heard on BG, you hear it on ESPN a couple weeks later. Just saying. But all right, we're not done with the boxing quite yet. World champion heavyweight boxer Alexander Usyk, in my opinion. Terence Crawford just retired, so I'm gonna give Usyk the number one pound for pound guy on my list. If Terence Crawford was still boxing, I think I'd probably give it to Crawford at this point. But Usyk, in my opinion, is the best boxer in the world. I think he beats anyone. What he's done in the heavyweight division, and what he did in the cruiserweight division before that, second to none. So Alexander Usyk, the best boxer in the world, said here on BG today, is set to fight Rico Verhoeven, supposedly a legendary kickboxer. Do I know the lad? I do not. He has a 1-0 pro boxing record, but he's not a pro boxer. He's a pro kickboxer and apparently a legend. This came out of nowhere. I really wasn't expecting this. Really, I'm not too excited about this, but again, I'm a sucker for big fights. I'm a sucker for big names. I will be watching. I just wanted to put it out there in case you didn't know. Usyk and Verhoeven are going to be fighting. I think Usyk's going to wipe the floor with him. Saudi Arabia has their fingerprints all over it. It's a money grab. I don't know who's asking for this, who wanted this, but it's happening. You know what? Out of anything, I'm most excited that it's happening. If you don't know where it's happening at the Pyramids of Giza. Weird spot for a boxing match? I think so. I do think so, but you know what? If it was like in Las Vegas, I'd maybe tune in, maybe-ish. If it was in Saudi, probably not, honestly. It's at the Pyramids of Giza. I don't know why. I'm a sucker. They got me. I'm prime goyim. This is my Roman Coliseum. These are my games. I love watching them. I'm going to fall for them every time. You put a boxing match in front of the Pyramids of Giza, I'm going to watch. You can't stop me. I just wanted to put it out there. And then just want to give a shout out. Navarrete fought yesterday. Great fighter. Great Mexican fighter. Obviously, I'm always going to watch him. Big fan of Mexican boxing. Is he the best Mexican boxer? It's a question that people have been asking. He looked really great yesterday. I don't think so. I believe that still belongs to 2-0 Bam Rodriguez. Bam Rodriguez is a great, great fighter. Is he truly Mexican? I don't know. American? Psh, who cares? Give me Bam. Bam in 4. Sweep. And then, shout out some more Mexican fighters. Zurdo, Ramirez, and Benavides set to fight for the cruiserweight title. These aren't the big names. We're getting the nitty-gritty at this point, but I want to give him a quick shout. It's going to be a good fight. Benavides is one of my favorite fighters to watch. Zurdo, I think, has found his own at 180, well, in the cruiserweight division at least. And, Benavides is really stepping up from fighting at 168 to going up to cruiserweight. I hope he gets a championship here. No one wants to fight the lad. Canelo never wanted to fight him. I thought that was a wise duck. The light heavyweights don't want to give him a chance. Do I think he beats a better Biev or a Bivol? I don't know, but, they don't gain much from it. So, shout out Zurdo. Shout out the people who made this fight, because I think it's going to be a good fight. Shout out Benavides. I hope he finally gets his championship. No one wants to give the lad a chance. He's a good fighter. That's a good one to tune into. Look, I'm going to mention it. I'm going now. I've gotten into rhythm, but we're almost done. I'm mad hungry, dog. I'm mad hungry. I need to eat. I need to prepare for the week. I'm not going to skip over WWE talk. WWE Elimination Chamber just wrapped up yesterday. Watched the full thing with my boy. Shout out Matt YG. It's a funny video he posted of me getting my ankles broken. Shout him out on Instagram. I posted on the Baker's Gold Instagram. Really good stuff. Watched it with him. It's truly a Royal Rumble of people in the room. It was like 10 people, something like that in the room. We watched it. Look, I gave Elimination Chamber a 6 out of 10. It was an alright one. What it did do, so look, they had good moments. I think they stuck the landing on the chamber match. I think the right guy won every time. They had a mid-event. I'm thinking about even switching it to a 7 out of 10, but I'm going to stick with my 6 out of 10 I gave it yesterday. But they really hyped up WrestleMania. The road to WrestleMania is starting to ramp up a little bit. So I'm going to go one by one. The women's chamber match was a good fight. I thought they built up Raquel Rodriguez excellently. I was hyped. I was actually kind of rooting for Raquel to win that. Me from 2 years ago probably would have never said that, but Raquel, I'm a big fan of what she's doing right now. She looked great, but Rhea Ripley comes out with the win, set to fight Jade Cargill at WrestleMania, and I'm hyped for it. Look, I'm a sucker. 2 extremely jacked, strong women fighting. Sign me up. Not even in the WWE context, any context. 2 jacked women fighting. Psh, sign me up. I'm a sucker. Regular dude. Don't fault me. I'm hyped for it. Look, I'm going to be hyped for it. I don't care if Rhea's always at Mania. There's a reason for it. She's a staple. She's great. Give me Rhea to win that one. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I didn't care for it too much. Not a bad match at all. AJ Lee winning the championship. Cool to see. Younger me would have been going crazy. I don't care too much for AJ Lee at this point. I don't keep up enough right now to really care about it. But, cool match. Punk and Balor. Coolest thing from the match probably was Punk's walkout to the old Bulls theme, at the Bulls arena. It was great stuff. I gave Balor a 0% chance to win that fight before going into it, and after that entrance, I gave him, it's not even theoretically possible, I gave him a negative 50% chance to win that fight after, and you know what? He put up a good fight. It was a fun watch. There was like one little moment where I thought Balor might have it, and he didn't. There's just no possible way they were going to spoil that Roman Punk Mania match. Punk wins, good all around, fun. Before I get to the men's WrestleMania match, been all the craze. The box revealed Elimination Chamber. You know what? This is a moment where I was so happy Roy wasn't there. I was missing Roy all night long. God, it sounds whack to say. But I really wish Roy was there all night long, but I'm happy he wasn't here for this one. Mystery box, I've been teasing it for about a month now. Who's going to be in the box? It's going to be revealed at Elimination Chamber. Hyped it up. Who was it? Danhausen. Who? I don't know. I don't watch AEW. They got me hyped. I wasn't even keeping up with the box too much. I knew about it somewhat. Leading up to it, I was hyped. It's a misstep. Look. You got me hyped. You tricked me. You bamboozled me. What could have been in the box to really get me excited? Nothing. I mean, it's really hard to do it, but why even build it up to that level at that point? You're trolling at that level. You're asking people to be mad. But you know what? I think that's kind of the point. People are talking about it. Out of Elimination Chamber, there's a lot of things that went on, and people are talking about Danhausen quite a lot. Maybe that was a move. Maybe that was her play. All publicity is good publicity, even bad publicity. I butchered that. But, it's publicity. People are talking about Danhausen. I know who he is now. I'm looking him up. Look. The goth latex baddies he pulled out. If he does that every time, I won't complain. Give me some goth latex baddies, and I won't complain. Again, I'll say this in every facet of life. I won't complain. Who am I to complain about that? I liked it. Moving on. We're running out of steam. We're reaching the end here. But yeah, Danhausen. I was happy Roy wasn't there. If you know, you know. If not, look it up. Came out. Pretty funny guy, not gonna lie. But they bean boozled me. Give me latex goth baddies to win every time. Men's Elimination Chamber match. It was a lot of fun. Was not familiar with Trick Williams. I was not familiar with Javon Evans. I've heard about him. It looked good. Javon Evans looked really good. It was fun. Hope he's okay. Botched the match spot with him. Did him good. Trick Williams, I see what the hype's about. I don't think he does anything too crazy in the ring. There's not too many memorable moments from him, in my opinion. But I see why he's popular. Still not 100% sold on him. Besides that, LA Knight had a botch. What can I say? I was next to a big LA Knight fan. I started to believe he would win. I thought he might win. It'd be great. I'm a big LA fan as well, but they did him dirty. He was hit with the low blow, pinned after botching. If that's not the LA Knight WWE experience, I don't know what is. It happened. Not too much talk about him. Kind of still hurts me. Logan Paul looked great. I think he had some great heel work. Getting the first 3 pins, I think him moving Cody out of the way to get the 3rd pin just to be trying to complete the clean sweep was genius. Thought it was great heel work. Logan Paul continues to be one of my favorite heels. But this is where it really turned up. After the first 3 were eliminated, Masked Man comes out. Who's it going to be? Taken away. Unmasked. Who is that? Don't know. And a second Masked Man comes into the ring. Logan Paul, baffled, scared, gets curb stomped like they've been doing. Cody pins him, eliminates him. Who's under the mask? Seth freaking Rollins. Cinema. What can I say? It is absolute cinema. I thought it was great. I'm excited about Seth Rollins being back. Again, what this pay-per-view really did for me, PLE, what this PLE really did for me was get me hyped for WrestleMania. I'm hyped Seth Rollins is back. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him, the vision, what's going on with the other masked people he had. Are they going to bring him back? Who's he going to fight? Is it going to be Logan Paul? Are they going to run it back again at Mania? I don't know. But I'm just really hyped that Seth Rollins is back. After that, it's down to Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, a match everyone has been wanting. Drew McIntyre comes in, ruins it, tries to take out Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton helps Cody Rhodes take out Drew. RKO up. Good Lord, I already forgot Cody Rhodes. Running out of steam here, sorry. I already forgot Cody Rhodes. The crossroads, hit him with the crossroads. Boom, gets up. RKO out of nowhere. Randy does not pull his punch. Punches his ticket to WrestleMania to fight Drew McIntyre. I was hyped. I was mad hyped. That's who I wanted to win as a huge Randy fan. I really want to watch him get number 15, and I believe this is the time to do it. Perfect timing. I believe Randy gets the 15th championship at WrestleMania. Sets it up great. McIntyre, Randy. What even set up even better was the post-game. Usually don't stay for the post-game. I was with Matty G. So if we're going to watch the post-game, Nick Aldis comes out shouting, mad at Drew. Said, Drew, you want to get rid of Cody Rhodes so bad and not give him a chance. You know what? We're going to give Cody Rhodes a chance. This Friday, I will be tuned in. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the World Championship. I'm going to be tuned in. It's going to be big. Will it end cleanly? I don't think so. I've heard a lot of talk about Jacob Fatu coming out. Maybe spoiling that. I think that's probably the way we're going to do it. And, Matty G, if it happens, this is the way he set it up. He predicted it. Fatal 4-way, Fatu, Rhodes, McIntyre, Randy. I don't believe there's any way to mess this up. I believe there's 3 ways this can go. It can end on Drew winning, and then the match is just Drew and Randy. And I think that's perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. It could end with Fatu costing Drew, and then you just get Cody Rhodes, Randy straight up. And again, I'm completely fine with that. And then again, the other one is they just set up a fatal 4-way, Randy, Drew, Cody, Fatu. That'd probably be the best outcome, and I'm more than fine with that. Any of those 3 ways, I'm extremely happy with it. And, it's really hard for them to fumble. Like I said, they set it up really great. You already have a great main event with CM Punk, Roman Reigns. You got Seth Rollins coming back. What's going to happen there? You got Brock Lesnar set to fight someone. I'm hyped for Brock Lesnar always. You got Cargill, Rhea Ripley, great. And then this thing going on with Randy, McIntyre, Cody. What's going to happen there? I'm excited. The road feels like it's truly started. I believe it was going slowly, but they've really ramped it up, and I'm hyped. Again, I'm rated at 6 out of 10, but I thought it really did a good job at hyping me up for WrestleMania. But all right, pretty much covers everything I want to talk about. We've gone over an hour. So, look, I'm not playing on my phone. I'm taking care of business. If you know, you know. It's fan section time. It's a mad short one. Very sad. No one puts in the fan section. No one talked about in the fan section. It's whatever. It's whatever, all right? I'm not going to get too pressed about it. But look, fan section, we got 3 of them. I'm going to answer them every time for the fans. These UIW boys always coming up big. Tim talks about anything. Chris Paul is better than Kyrie. Tim, you know ball. That is correct. I believe Chris Paul, the point guard, is better than Kyrie Irving. Right now, maybe not. But look, when it comes to skills, especially point guard skills, I think IQ plays a big role in it. And I don't think there's any better IQ lit than Chris Paul all time. So, Kyrie, obviously one of the best handlers of all time. Great player. Fun to watch. I've gained a lot of respect for him, especially since he took Dallas as a sidekick to the finals. Gained a lot of respect for him. I don't care if CP3 has 0 rings. I don't care if CP0. Give me Chris Paul over Kyrie every day. Tim, I agree with you there. Albert says, Plucker sponsorship? I hope so. I've heard that we are too dirty for Pluckers. You know, Pluckers, I give you all a lot of my money. I go about 3 times a week. I go all the time. I love y'all specials. I use the app. I love Pluckers, but look, if we're too dirty, that's fine. I still love Pluckers. No hard feelings. Hopefully one day y'all notice me. Sponsor us. I'm going to do the Fire in the Hole challenge. Graduation day. Tune in for that one. Might be a whole video. And lastly, Uncut Matt. Why wasn't Brandon in the Elimination Chamber? They're really, Brandon needs to get his push at the end of the day. I think Brandon needs to get his push. I've heard a lot of talk about Triple H not liking the minorities, one might say. Maybe that's the reason Brandon wasn't in there, but Brandon should have been in the Elimination Chamber. Look, that's all we got for fan section. Truly banter. One good take, two chud ones. But it's whatever. Get this epi out. That pretty much wraps it up. That wraps up this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Had some fun. Think I did a better job. I didn't get gassed up as much as I gassed out as I thought I would. Better breath control. Been practicing it. I did almost pause about 35 minutes in to go throw up. I don't know why. It's getting really hot in here and I'm getting bit up by spiders. But look, in a day, I'm going to say this. I will be on the podcast every week. If I'm not on the podcast, that means I'm either dead or just lost the love of the game. If I'm not on the podcast, it means I'm dead or I just lost love of the game. Neither of which I would wish on my worst enemy. I'd rather be dead than lose the love of the game. That's all I have to say about it. I'll be here every week. Roy will be back next week. Hope y'all still enjoyed it. Hope y'all tuned in. If y'all enjoy the effort, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time. I think I still cooked up some good prompts. I'm going to pat myself on the back for these. I like them. Leave a comment. If there's something you don't like about what I do, let me know. I like hearing criticism. If there's something you really like I do, let me know. I love getting a big head. So, let me know. Either way, I appreciate every comment. I appreciate all of y'all. If y'all tuned in, love y'all. I do this every week. I love it. Love the game. That's pretty much all I got for y'all. Word of the week. Almost forgot. Never forget. Word of the week is isolation. I'm isolated. Look, I guess I'll turn it. Look, I guess I'll show y'all. This is the only buddy I have in here. I'm in a freaking RV with just junk everywhere. We got a woody piñata right there. I have a woody piñata right there. If I turn it around, you just see more junk. There's junk all over the place. But I do this for y'all. I do this because I enjoy it so much. I messed up the framing. Look, if y'all think this is uneven because my camera's uneven, that is not true. The entire RV is uneven. I'm living at a distorted reality. It's time to go eat chicken. I enjoyed y'all so much. Thank y'all for having me. Hope y'all enjoyed. And I'll see y'all next week.